In today's video, we will go through the history of some of the most popular landmarks in Liverpool. Walk along Liverpool's waterfront today, and you'll encounter the Albert Dock, a massive Victorian complex that seems almost too grand to be real. When Prince Albert himself opened it in 1846, Liverpool was handling an estimated 40% of the world's trade. 40%, let that sink in for a moment. Nearly half of everything bought and sold globally was passing through this single British port. The Albert Dock wasn't just big, it was revolutionary. Designed by local architect Jesse Hartley, it was the first structure in Britain built entirely from cast iron, stone, and brick. No structural wood at all. This made it the world's first non-combustible warehouse system. When you consider that fire was the great enemy of 19th century commerce, destroying goods and entire ports, you begin to understand what an innovation this represented. Liverpool wasn't just participating in global trade, it was solving global trade's biggest problems. Giants along the waterfront stand at the pier head and look up, and you'll see why Liverpool's skyline is called the Three Graces. The Royal Liver Building, with its famous liver birds, dominates the view, a 322-foot testament to ambition and engineering innovation. Opened in 1911, it was one of the first buildings in the world constructed, using reinforced concrete. But the technical achievement isn't what captures your imagination. It's those two mythical birds perched atop the clock towers. The liverbirds are 18 feet tall, and according to local legend, they watch over both the city and the sea. More importantly, the legend insists that if these birds were ever to fly away, Liverpool would cease to exist. It's the kind of story that perfectly captures Liverpool's relationship with mythology. Serious enough to mean something, playful enough not to take too seriously. The building was originally home to the Royal Liver Assurance Group, which had been established in 1850 to provide assistance to local families who lost a wage-earning relative. It's worth pausing on this detail because it reveals something fundamental about Liverpool's character. This wasn't just a city built on grand global trade. It was also a place where ordinary people looked out for each other, where community mutual aid societies flourished alongside international commerce. Culture in stone. Not far from the waterfront, St. George's Hall stands as Liverpool's temple to high culture. Opened in 1854, this neoclassical masterpiece contains both concert halls and law courts. A fascinating combination that speaks to Victorian ideals about the relationship between culture and civic life. The architectural historian Nicholas Pevsner called it one of the finest Neo-Grecian buildings in the world. But what makes it special isn't just its beauty, it's what it represents. The hall was built because Liverpool wanted a proper venue for its triennial music festivals. This was a city flush with trade wealth, but instead of just building bigger warehouses or grander mansions, Liverpool chose to invest in culture, in spaces where people could gather to experience art and music together. The fact that they combined this with law courts suggests a sophisticated understanding of what makes a city civilized. Not just commerce, but justice and beauty working together. The sound of a revolution. But perhaps Liverpool's greatest cultural export began not in a grand concert hall, but in a basement. The Cavern Club opened on January 16, 1957, in a former fruit warehouse cellar that had served as an air raid shelter during World War II. Originally a jazz club inspired by the Parisian cave clubs, it gradually became the epicenter of something entirely new. The club's early history includes a delightful detail that somehow perfectly captures the spirit of the place. The cellar had previously stored tropical fruit, and during warm months, the sweet scent from ripening fruit had been absorbed into the sandstone brickwork. When the club was packed with dancing teenagers, the heat would cause the bricks to sweat. releasing that fruity aroma into their clothing. Fans waiting at bus stops could be identified as Cavern Club visitors by this distinctive Cavern perfume. It was here that 4 young Liverpudlians, named John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr, would regularly perform in the early 1960s. The Beatles, formed in Liverpool in 1960, would go on to become what many consider the most influential band in Western popular music. But they started as local lads playing for their neighbours, part of the broader Merseybeat scene that was transforming Liverpool into a global cultural capital. Liverpool's story isn't just about its golden age. Like all great cities, it has known decline as well as triumph. From the mid-20th century, the city's docks and traditional manufacturing industries went into sharp decline. The advent of containerization made many of Liverpool's historic docks obsolete, and unemployment rose to among the highest in the UK. But here's what makes Liverpool remarkable. It refused to become a museum of its former glory. The city's economy has recovered, partly through tourism, but also through substantial investment in regeneration schemes. In 2008, Liverpool was named European Capital of Culture, recognition that this was a city that had never stopped creating, never stopped innovating, never stopped believing in its own capacity for reinvention. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.